Hey guys, it's TF Nut. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing another action figure review. This time it's going to be of the brand new Medicom MAFEX Marvel Comics Amazing Spider-Man Scarlet Spider figure. Figure number 186 in the line. Very excited to finally have this figure here. If I'm being honest, I was contemplating getting this on and off since it was announced. But about 2 weeks ago, I think not even that long, I was like, you know what? Time to stop procrastinating. I'll go ahead and pre-order it. Maybe it might get another delay. I'll just wait and I'll think about it. But it shipped shortly after I pre-ordered it, actually. So I was actually pretty surprised about that, and I'm happy to have it here finally. I did go ahead and last week as well ordered the 185 MAFEX Spider-Man, so I will be reviewing that after this review, even though it's going to be a really late review for that. I'm glad to have both those Spider-Man figures. Love Ben Reilly. Really love the Scarlet Spider look here. This is a fantastic looking figure. Very happy to have it. Let's stop droning on here. Take a look at the packaging. Very cool packaging. You see the figure in the box. Cool backdrop there too, like a cityscape. You also have right there, kind of like those original comic, like top left seals, whatever that is, with an image of Scarlet Spider, Marvel 6-inch 186. Some comic images on the side there on the right, as well as an image of the figure right there where it says also the Amazing Spider-Man Scarlet Spider comic version action figure. Marvel, MAFEX, and Medicom Toy. Now on this side, it's just gonna have right there where it says Amazing Spider-Man and an image of Scarlet Spider with the hood up there. And we do have this interesting image right there of Medicom Toys. I believe that's some kind of barcode. We look on the side here, this long look here, just a body image of the figure, as well as again MAFEX number 186. That's a comic image right there of the Scarlet Spider head. The exact spider logo there too. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I think we did the top. There's the top. I don't think we showed it off yet. But again, very similar logos with that mask as well as that spider logo. And on the bottom here, not much. It just says ages 15 and up, as well as a barcode in case you want to read that right now, and a warning choking hazard. The back of the box here has a lot of really nice toy art, as you see right there. Just toy photography, I should say, as well as Amazing Spider-Man, MAFEX 186, and all of that. So let's go ahead and get this figure out of the packaging. Here's the figure out of the packaging, and I think Medicom did an incredible job with this figure. It is a beautiful piece. I do have on my particular figure a quality control problem, while minor still kind of bugs me for how much you're paying with this figure. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's take a look at some of the accessories, then we'll take a close look at the figure. We have a lot of accessories, and I'm not going to be able to go over exactly what look this is here, exactly pinpoint where in the comics that this look for the eyes came from. But all these different heads they're not the exact same sculpt because of some of the unique sculpting, but they're in a almost exact uniform shape. And I think what they did was they just looked through a bunch of different covers and panels throughout the Clone Saga and different, Scarlet Spider iterations, and they just included some of the best stuff. This is definitely on some different covers here where you have these long white pieces going on in there. The white here is separated, like sculpt-wise. I don't know what's going on with that that shiny piece on the head there, but this is supposed to be the rest of this a matte red. A little bit of some definition where the ear meets the chin right there, not chin, the jaw, excuse me. But all that still looks really good. And then we have this more angrier eye scrunched face here with these eyes here. And these eyes are a little bit wider than what we get on the ones that he comes packaged with. But he still has some pretty nice scrunching going on with the one we get packaged. But that looks good. You can see all that detail around the eyebrows as well. Those heads are fantastic. One good thing about what the MAFEX is doing here is not only are these, it's not necessarily a bad thing that there's not super details or anything in these hands. He's wearing a suit, so the hands here they're all going to look pretty similar, where they're all just kind of molded in this red, but they still look good. The good thing that MAFEX did was give us these ports here, so not only can you protect these from closing up at all, but it's going to be easier for me to do this here. So going through the hands really quick, since they're all very basic and it's not really a bad thing again. These red expressive hands, there might be a little bit of some shininess again. So I don't know what's going on with some of the plastic where it's shiny on the mat there, so that's kind of weird. Well, those are relaxed hands. These more expressive hands for different action poses as well as wall crawling. Really cool that we get these there. And the color on all these is really good. I think there might be a white speck in there, and if that's a QC issue somehow, that's bad. But I mean, it's still rather minor. But I think I could get that off. We have the exact same kind of hands, but not exactly, because we have these extra plastic pieces sculpted in there, and then you see the metal pieces. It looks like there's a lot of glue in there. Interesting. But if you have a magnet, if you have a fridge or something, or like a metal piece of a base, you can go on there. And we do have web holding hands where the fingers are sculpted onto the palms there, but you do have a little bit of an open port there on both sides with the thumb sticking out on each side, so that way you can hold these different web accessories. And that is also really sick. Last but not least, for the hands, we have thwippers. Very glad. I mean, if you're going to have a Spider-Man figure, you need thwippers. So all that looks good. We also have these alternate feet pieces that are pretty much the exact same sculpt as the normal ones, but as you see here, we do have magnets. They gave these with previous Spider-Man figures in the past, which is a really cool, addition for all that. And it's just a very basic red here. What's good is that the feet actually port into the peg for the ankles really easy. I thought it was going to be a lot harder than it should be and like break, but it's actually really easy to get in and out. So I really dig that they thought ahead about that. And they've probably had a lot of time to perfect that over the years. Anyway, when it comes to some of the web accessories, as you see here, we're going to zoom in a little bit so you can get an idea. And the light might not help with this, but look at all this nice detailing of all these different intricate web strands, all that wrapping around each other. Now, I don't believe there's any bendy wires going on here. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but if you want to try to bend this, it looks like it's going back into place. One of these could have a bendy wire, and I'm just not smart, and I just don't know it. But just be careful if you want to bend these around thinking that there's bendy wires. I don't believe there is, but this is a cool accessory for him to hold. Actually, I don't know how he's going to hold, if he has to hold it around here. That, these are a closed grip, so you're probably gonna have to hold it at the end here, but it's, whatever. We also have two of each of these type of longer pieces here. As you see, it's like a perfect angle at each end there, so he can grab it and have a certain dynamic type of pull when he has the web pieces here. Again, lots of great sculpting in those different web strands. The white plastic is done really nicely. We have smaller, wrist pieces for the web shooters. This one looks like it's bent out way too much here. It could maybe be, no, they should be about the same height, or same length, I should say. But yeah, these are smaller pieces and these go around the wrist. Is that broken? Oh no. Come on, man. What is with some of these minor things add up to be a really big pain in the ass when you're paying $100 for these figures. Like, what the hell? Anyway, you also have these longer web shooting pieces that go around the wrist, and these also look good. Let's check, I guess. And some people could say I may have broken this off camera, but why would I do that? Definitely not on purpose, and I didn't mess around with these that much to where I would do that, so that's kind of insane. Anyway, these longer strands here. Last but not least, we do have these two pieces here. They're done in this particular way where this is more of like a longer swoop here. I guess this could maybe go around the arm or somewhere, or you can grab it. That's sick. And then you also have this with a little bit of a smaller swoop here. All these things are kind of bunched more together. So lots of different webs. That's really impressive, but I have some QC problems on some of these accessories, while mine are still really bug me. Also, we do have the basic MAFEX stand where it has different adjustable neck pieces on one of the necks, and then we have a static neck piece, different clamps and C-grips and all that, and different ports to put your base pieces into the base. Even though this isn't the greatest image, I did want to quickly show off what this figure looks like with the metal pieces on my fridge. I think the magnets in the hands and feet are a little weak, so if you want to display your MAFEX Spider-Man figures on metal pieces like they're wall crawling, I do recommend additional support to make sure they don't fall. Now I need to get into a quick rant. I'll have a timestamp in case you want to skip it. But this is so far on the actual figure the only paint splotch I can find or imperfection. But it's so distracting to see this dark speck on all red on this forearm. And I'm bringing attention to it, and it makes me mad because you're paying upwards of like close to $100 for each figure. It feels like every other month when new figures are coming out from MAFEX, I'm seeing like 6 or 7 different people with similar type of issues with these figures every time. Mostly that certain figures will have really, fragile wrist pegs and they'll break. Like I think 185 Spider-Man and the previous version of that had that problem. This is not too bad on mine so far. But then various paint splotches. My Nightwing had paint splotches, and thankfully the parts were able to be swapped out. Thanks to HobbyLink Japan for sending me stuff to make it so that I could fix that. But I can't really fix this. This is a whole forearm piece that is, ported into this joint here. And I don't want to use acetone. I don't even think it's going to work. I don't want to ruin anything, man. I could try to fix it, but at the same time, MAFEX, there's no way that Medicom has no idea that some of these things keep happening with this line for how much they're charging. And they've built up this reputation so far to where it just doesn't seem like they care to fix any kind of quality control issues. I'm getting on Tomash Nations with their quality lately about it. I've been getting on things like Hasbro with Marvel Legends, as well as like Good Smile with the Figma stuff. When they mess up, I will be getting on about it just as hard when Medicom does mess up like this. Now, again, this is just rather minor, but it still really bugs me for how much I paid for this. Anyway, with that out of the way, that was really just the one issue there. Everything else about this figure, I will say, is fantastic. With that rant design, that rant sounds like it was a scathing review. It really, really is a fantastic figure. I do like that the head that they came with, packaged with, I guess, it does have really nice wrinkles around the eyes, and then the the white and the red here are separate sculpts. I mean, it's all one piece, of course, but you can feel an indent of a line going on there. I'm really digging that. So I do also want to talk about really quick just the other unique parts, because there's just a lot of just basic red going on here. It's not necessarily a bad thing because it's pretty accurate to this costume. The soft goods here are rather fantastic. The stitching is a little bunched up around the top of the shoulders though here. So it really likes to leave a little bit of gappage and just exposed parts of the red there, because it wants to go back into place when you want to pull it like that. I do like these drawstrings though. I don't think you can pull them and adjust them at all, which is fine. And they are definitely non-bendy wires, but the way this fabric is done, you can kind of move it around a little bit to be a little bit dynamic, and then we'll go back in place. So that's actually really sick. The quality here, the rest of it, the stitching on here is really sick. I love how this fabric looks. It looks fantastic. The printing of the spider logo there, it does not look bad at all. I love that. And then we do have a bendy wire where you can adjust the hood piece here. So if you want, it's a little too pointy, but you can, if you mess around with it enough, for long enough, you could make it look a little bit more natural. But then you put it down and you bend this a little bit to fit the shoulders, and there you go. That's fantastic. Now we look at the belt here. I do really like the paint work going on here with that metallic silver. A little bit of like brown, meaning where the silver should be, and vice versa, but you really have to look hard enough to see it. Same thing with these capsules, web cartridges, I guess. All that looks really sick. I feel like a little bit of some excess plastic bunching in some areas, but I think that it might actually be accurate. That little piece sticking there. Everything else, I mean, it's just a very basic brown. I think overall it's molded in brown, I think. But this is also, I think this is a separate piece, but it's ported somewhere. Yeah, right there. So you're really not going to move that. The gauntlets here, the web shooters, basically. This little piece sticking out there. That looks great. The metallic silver on there is really great. I do not believe, I was just pulling ever so slightly, I don't believe you can remove these, and I personally would not want to. Here's what that looks like there. You also get an idea of what the fists look like there. All that looks really good. And then we get down to the ankle pouches. It looks like a little bit of red is exposed there. It looks like they missed a little bit of brown, but it's not too bad. At least there's not like a splotch in between the red sections. In between, or I should say in between the brown or whatever. Nice silver button right there, and the way that the pouches are sculpted have a nice bit of wrinkles going on there. Digging that, and then that's what that looks like on that ankle side too. The metal pins on the feet are a little bit distracting, but it's really not that big of a deal. Everything else about this, while it looks good, it's just basically just this, and it's accurate to the outfit, but it's just a basic red. There's not much paint work going on here. They might have added a basic coat, or I'm feeling it doesn't feel like there's any paint on here. Again, could be a basic coat of red, but it just mostly is molded, you can tell. in this red here, but everything is very consistent. All the red is very consistent. I think this might be a slightly brighter red in some angles or some parts of different light compared to here and here, but on camera it all mixes together really well. It's a little difficult right now to show, but you do have some abs actually sculpted right there, and I am not going to waste time, unfortunately, showing you guys how this looks without the hoodie on, because I don't think I'll get it back on. But Scramble Egg 29 on Instagram, I'll leave that link down in the description below, showed off an image of what the figure looks like without the hood on, and you can see different musculature going on there. That is very cool. Also, I don't own the Spider-Man Ben Reilly figure, which comes with the unmasked head, but I did want to show JWMP's image right there. Sorry if I messed that name up, but he had some images with some head swaps from this figure, as well as that Ben Reilly Spider-Man. You can see the unmasked head on there. Looks like it fits rather well. But overall, what you do get with this figure is lots of nice musculature in the biceps, the forearms, and all that, even the Ben Reilly butt. And we do also have lots of detailing of muscles in the thighs, even going down to the calf muscles, the nice pointy feet there. So even though it looks a little basic, which is how the design is supposed to be, they did put forth the effort into lots of muscle sculpting on this figure. No surprise that a MAFEX figure is going to have some great range of motion with the articulation. So we do have different head joints with the neck and the actual head with ball joint going on there. That range of motion up is fantastic. Combined, the range of motion going down is also really great. Side to side, and it's all kinds of swiveling. Grabbing the neck might be a little bit hard to try to swivel that with this hoodie on, but that's great. And then we do have, you see this butterfly joint system. I think the arms will drop down. As you can see, you can go all the way out like that. That's really cool. So arms go all the way around and then forward and back like so. That's fantastic. Upper arm swivel here, double jointed elbows. The double joints are usually like the stiffest or like most finagly parts of these figures, but they bend really well, and they really keep that pose, and then you bend it out and it goes out pretty easily. So that is very smooth. Now, because of these brace pieces, or the web shooters, the gauntlet pieces, they just get in the way, unfortunately. But you do get that range, type of this peg here will allow for a swivel, a hinge, and then a swivel going into the arm. But again, the range of motion and all of that is rather poor. And then the swivel is really stiff right now. You saw, taking this off is a little difficult, of course, but there are two different ball joints, and then like in the hip and the ab crunch. So that's as far forward it wants to go. Far back, I think it could be slightly better, but that's still really good. Side to side is fantastic, and then swiveling, you're getting no problem there. You don't need to worry about overstretching that hoodie piece, so that's sick. A little bit of a drop down system going on with the legs here. You can make it kick out like that. You can kind of make it kick back, but the butt sculpts are going to get in the way. But you will get just about perfect splits. And then the thigh swivel here is really good, I think, compared to Nightwing. I don't think that had that great of a thigh swivel, but this is awesome. Double jointed knees bend really well. Swivel here at the ankle with this piece kind of covering some parts there. Down as far as it goes. Up, really good. Ankle rocker, toe hinge. Measuring out the figure before size comparisons, we're looking at pretty close to 15.5, almost 16 centimeters tall. That is going to put this at around 6.25 inches tall. Over on the right, you see all those different MAFEX figures. 185 Spider-Man, which I just got and I would like to review after this Scarlet Spider, and then the recently reviewed Nightwing. You can see they're all pretty close to scale with each other. I think 185 Spidey is actually the shortest out of all of them. Over on the left, SH Figure Arts No Way Home Spider-Man figures. The smallest out of all of these that you see here is going to be the Tobey Spider-Man, and even though the Andrew Spider-Man is pretty tall, it's still going to be shorter than Scarlet Spider. Overall, I know I complained a pretty good amount about that left arm splotch. I was really frustrated with how much I'm paying for a figure like this that happened. And there is some very, really hard to see QC problems with some of the accessories when it comes to the plastic. But yeah, it was a little bit noticeable. That's not as frustrating, but everything else about this figure, I gotta say, is fantastic. I really am loving this thing here. It might seem a little basic because it's just, a dude with a blue hoodie with a red, suit going on, but the musculature in the red is really nice. The rest of the red, besides that one paint splotch, all of that comes through really, really nice, even though there's not much detail going on paint-wise. I do love the belt, as well as the web shooters and the ankle pouches. All that comes through really nice with the paint and sculpting. Those different heads are great. The soft goods for the hoodie are fantastic with the bendy wire in there too. I really love that. The wrist articulation is also a little bit wonky, unfortunately, but the rest of the stuff about this, again, all those different accessories, those different heads, the hands, the metal parts if you want to do like fridge web crawling, and of course those web pieces are great, and the base is always nice too. So mine wasn't perfect, but this is still a really fantastic figure. I highly recommend picking up if you like Spider-Man figures, if you need high-end Spider-Man figures, if you like this particular character, go ahead and pick it up. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below what you think about the figure, what you think about the review. Leave a like, share amongst your friends. Follow me on Instagram for more content over there, and I'll see you guys later.